Welcome to the Spent the Rent podcast. I am your host, Patty Rose. My guest today is Dave Villalobos, the owner-operator of Pedal Power Music. He's here today to promote a live stream performance, the Sunday Brunch, in collaboration with Studio 541 Productions and The People's Garden. Dave, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Patrick.
This is cool. This is kind of just came up today. We had been talking about doing a show, and you have a big event coming up that you wanted to talk about, and so we're gonna unleash that today.
Well, I mean, in these times, what the definition of an event is, definitely redefining it and trying to land like a cat and get things moving. So we definitely want to preface it that way, that it's definitely a live stream, and we'll just provide an opportunity for performers within this weekly to perform from wherever they're at, but also provide them some resources to play on the show. And then also the other part is working. So that big part's with Studio 541. But the other big part is about food and community. So
yeah, we'll get to all that. So
yeah,
let me explain to people that are tuning in what we're doing here. First of all, let's introduce you. So this is Dave Villalobos, and you are the owner-operator of Pedal Power Music. Tell us in a quick 30 seconds what Pedal Power Music is.
The mission of it is to connect people with the power of bikes and music. So that's it in a nutshell. And like I said, to be quick on our feet. So historically, what we do is we work with event organizers and producers, and we provide a public portable utility using solar power, using bicycle power, and we also integrate with the audio visual. So if we're producing bands, or if we're doing, TED Talks, or whatever it is, if it's a birthday party, wedding, typically we integrate with that event, and we provide the help in production, hiring performers, doing things like that, and just helping with the logistics of the production. And this is a project that we've been working on for a while, but we were thinking of just changing it to be more friendly online, but also with rapidly changing concerns and fears and realities that we just wanted to minimize that physical contact, but still find a unique way to get connected.
Right.
So that's what Pedal Power does, and we're just trying to do something different.
And there's a link in the show notes to the Facebook page of Pedal Power Music, and you can see more. Plus, I've had you on the show. It was quite a while ago now. I think it was like my 10th or 11th episode.
It's a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, and this is going to be episode 67. So quite a while ago that we did that. But I encourage anybody listening after this to go back and listen to the full-length episode about Pedal Power Music. Today, we're here to talk, like you had said, the event coordination has been redefined in this last couple of weeks of the shutdown. And so we're here to talk about a really exciting thing. There's going to be a live performance on Sunday called the Sunday Brunch, and it's hosted by Studio 541 Productions and The People's Garden. And we're going to talk a little bit here today about each individual organization and what they do. So let's talk about Studio 541 first. They have been doing live stream performances, and it was an ongoing thing, kind of showcasing local talent. I know that Michael Kay has been involved, and my friend Brendan Lynch, Cerebral Cortex. Those are, I do the hip hop stuff, so I know the hip hop kids that have been involved, and there's all genres. I think they just did a performance with Free Creatures. Is that correct? With Marv Ellis and his new group. So they're doing really cool things to showcase Eugene, Oregon talent, which is awesome. And you can find their information 541productions.com, studio 541productions.com.
There it is.
And all of the things we're going to mention, you can click down in the show notes wherever you're watching or listening to this, and it'll be there for you to find more details on that. Tell us how this all came to be, this specific performance that's this Sunday, which is, what's the date on Sunday? Is it the 5th? So Sunday the 5th, we're going to be doing this live performance, and the way that we'll talk about this throughout this interview. The way that we're going to get it to people is there's going to be a cross promotion with the podcast, with Studio 541, with the People's Garden, with Pedal Power Music. And if you go to our Facebook page, there'll be links to where you'll find it. It's at noon on Sunday. So yeah. So tell us how this came to be.
Yeah, I guess I would have to say that the major groundswell that pushed this in February, we had the privilege of working with an organization on the Big Island of Hawaii, and they brought us out there. We added 2 bicycles to a fleet that Hawaii already had years ago, about 6-7 years ago. A former student that I worked with fell in love with pedal power. He also fell in love with paddle power. He's a big outdoor person, but anyways, he ended up taking bicycles back to Hawaii, to Oahu, and then ended up moving back to the Big Island. And to fast track that, I went to Hawaii. We did the festival. It was called Thrive Fest. And the idea and the concept of the festival was not just survival, but it was also looking at thriving. And Hawaii has always been near and dear to my heart in a lot of different ways. I've been there several times, but specifically with this, a lot of the political stuff around Hawaii on sovereignty and bigger, the resources. So 90% of the island depends on, or the resources, fuel, food, everything that comes to the islands is 90% produced elsewhere. And every 2 weeks, a new invasive species is introduced to the Hawaiian Islands. To this day, you can see it. 20 years ago, there's no Kiko frogs. And anyways, now you can't go to sleep in the middle of the night because there's so many frogs. To the mongoose, to the, however you want to go back. And, the Australians that shipwrecked on the way to the California Gold Coast in the 1840s to go. Anyways, there's all kinds of invasive species that happen. And I wrestled with the idea of going there, spending jet fuel and taking bikes to go be a part of a festival in Hawaii. But when I got there, the community and the nonprofit Center for Getting Things Started, the way that they accepted me, the way they accepted the concepts, and just immediately some of the businesses, Battery Bill out in Oahu, he actually flew to the island, and we just hit it off. And just this idea about kind of recreating some of the things that we're doing here in Eugene with pedal power, but also out there in Hawaii. So that's where kind of the idea,
kind of the inspiration came from that.
Well, the inspiration and honestly, individuals on an island that you can't go anywhere, and that concept of, if things shut down, you can't support it if you're not completely self-sustained or more than 10%. So anyways, that really sat hard with me. And when I came back, the Coronova was starting to get more and more momentum, and some of the events, South by Southwest, Coachella, things were shutting down. And when I got back, I saw a post that Shay Baker,
and she's from Studio 541. She's from Studio 541.
Yeah, she's she's the strong inspiration behind 541, Studio 541, and of course, she was moved to being in Hawaii, and I think we were actually communicating while she was still there. And the day after she got back, we met at the garden, and we invited Plato as well, which I think Plato probably from the community MC.
Yeah, we're social media friends for sure.
Yeah,
I see him a lot on Instagram, and yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot with he did a lot with Occupy, and definitely grows a lot of food and supports that. Right now, I know he's working in homeless camps and trying to. He's a very, very special, spiritual, talented individual, and he helped us kind of transform the garden at Edgewood Pool. So the story there, Edgewood Pool It's a nonprofit, it has a pool, and we all, for the past couple years, we thought it'd be a good idea to expand the little garden. And so a couple years ago, we connected with Burrito Brigade and all this to donate food. And anyways, we got together a few weeks ago, and we started with this concept of this idea of having performers in the garden. And of course, things were rapidly changing from, you know, the Tool concert getting canceled.
Right.
Nobody, which I was very bummed. But it is what it is. But as it was going 250 to 150 to 100, and, you know, now of course to below 10, and watching musicians post and live stream, and personally watching events and festivals and lots of productions that I'm a part of just drop off. And I thought that if I don't think of something differently, if we don't think of it, and
like innovate, yeah,
innovate, but also at that moment, it was like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been going through a pretty big transition for quite a few years, just coming through to a lot of different things of my own success, failures, struggles, and coming and reaching out to Shay. It was really awesome because she's really strong, and she's not going to take any BS. And also Play-Doh, having that warm heart, and
right.
me doing my best to just like give it up and work together. And you know, it was just, that's kind of how it came together. And you know, now we did a run through last weekend really quickly. I was pretty impatient, and we had Amazon Organics. They sponsored with 20% delivery and things like that. But that's kind of how it started. And so now the concept is to have a weekly and showcase a local garden and have some music or have a performance, and just kind of rotate that, get different businesses
for the time
involved.
being, now down the road when things open back up, is this going to be something that people can spectate in person, or is it always going to be broadcast on the internet?
You know, I'm at this point, like I said, the last few weeks, and I don't know, what time is it right now?
We're recording this at 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Yeah, like maybe before we started the show, we're going to come back and something's going to be updated and some new thing.
So it's evolving.
So, yeah, you know, I have no idea. I just know that I want to be ready for whenever the people can get back together, whatever that looks like. But in the meantime, to just look at who's doing well in the community and kind of spread that around and do something different.
Yeah, I think that the idea, though, so this collaboration, like with Play-Doh, with Studio 541, and with yourself coming together, even if it just stays on the internet, it's cool, because what it does is it brings a very innovative new way of doing things. Are you talking to your dog? No.
Oh, no. Actually, my daughter's trying to check up on me with the second coat of her project. What's going on? I'm sorry. Oh, do you guys think it needs a second coat?
I think it looks good.
I think it looks good. You think it looks good? I think
the people listening to the audio version of this podcast hate us right now. So we're doing video right now, and he's showing us we're in the multitask world of internet media. You know, you have to parent at the same time. The kids are home from school, and anyways, back to what we were talking about. So
yeah.
So, you know, this collaboration coming together, this is the longest flyer ever. Basically, people are going to watch us talk about what's happening with this show for 30 minutes. But what we're doing here is we're promoting the Sunday Brunch. It's going to be live on the interwebs, and we're going to be linking it on Pedal Power Music's Facebook page, on Studio 541 Productions Facebook page. I'm sure the Edgewater, the People's Garden will be sharing it, and then us, the Spent the Rent podcast, we will be sharing it. We wanted to give a shout out to somebody that without his help, this wouldn't have been possible. And that is Mark is from getpropertyloans.com. Works with real estate in the Lane County area, and he's been a very big supporter of this project, the Sunday Brunch. So we wanted to give a shout out to him. I have to mention my title sponsor, Oregon Cash Flow Pro. James Barber is always doing great stuff, OregonCashFlowPro.com. So there's a lot of people that are coming together. This is what's beautiful about the 5-for-1. I love the Studio 5-for-1 Productions name. And I had recently created a Facebook page called the 5-for-1 Community. And all I'm doing with that is allowing people to just post as a community bulletin board. And it's really cool because a lot of the Facebook pages that exist, and I'm not knocking them, but they are clothing lines, or they are, they're trying to push one thing. They have one agenda. My goal with the 5-for-1 community is to let the people create the product. They are the product. The community is the product, and shared collective creation, that's the product.
Yeah.
So I think that's the vision that you saw when you approached me and wanted to do this collaboration with us. So
yeah, absolutely. Exciting. And that's the same with Pedal Power. The roots of Pedal Power was somebody was like, "Hey, Dave, we want to do a late night show at Country Fair." I was like, "Well, what are we going to use? Gas generator?"
And then that's the thing that I think sometimes when we talk about Pedal Power, the audience might not be aware. So there's at each performance that you have, like you had said before, you will power the stage. So the performance, the band's playing with a solar generator, a rover, but also with bicycles where people can pedal, and then a light sometimes will show that they're creating energy, and so they'll power the stage. And that's one of the beauties of it. So again, go to pedalpowermusic.com and learn more about what it is that they do. It's pretty awesome, and it's a total hit in a place like Eugene. We love it. We're a bike friendly community, and to run the performance, it's pretty incredible. So we wanted to talk about who's going to be performing at this Sunday brunch this Sunday, the 5th.
Oh, it's this is pretty awesome. Of course, I think it's kind of fun. Alex Elkin, he's a local comedian that has an international has an international venue. Definitely does things online. Right now, he's doing a lot of parodies. Trapped in his basement recording, but I've been watching him perform for quite a while, and then definitely linking the fact that he is here local. But what really got me going was recently he was quarantined on a ship because he had a contract with Carnival Cruise Line, and of course on Sunday he's going to tell us a bit more about that experience and other things. But the cool part about this show is Plato, garden extraordinaire, part of the show is he'll be sharing some sort of garden technique, showcasing the people's garden. But I don't know what it is he's got up his sleeve for nice. Sunday, but he's going to facilitate something that Alex can share a part and be a part of that, and either do at his house. People can follow along at home. However that's gonna go or be, but and then of course we'll transition, and he'll have about a good 15-minute set on the production, and then we'll wrap things up. But that's kind of the concept, and but we're super psyched to have Alex Elkin, and I think
that's pretty good.
Are you dropping his YouTube?
We're gonna play at the end of this episode. We're gonna play a song. It's a parody song on the song Imagine by comedian Alex Elkin. So that'll be cool. So yeah, you're going to have Plato playing or doing some stuff with the garden. You're going to have Alex Elkin doing some comedy, and then kind of kicking off. This is the first Sunday brunch, correct?
Yeah. This will be the first one. And then basically it's going to kind of be the same template. However, businesses, sponsors, and performers, and oftentimes we might even have a different location in the garden situation in the community as this grows or develops. Or yeah,
it's a lot of fun. So where can everybody find it? Again, it's going to be on Facebook. So we're going to be Pedal Power Music Facebook page, Studio 5-for-1 Productions, the Spent the Rent podcast. We'll all be sharing the link at noon on Sunday. So that's pretty exciting.
And then there's also going to be the static that it's going to be on socials. It'll be shared on, it'll be ported over to Alex Elkin's YouTube page. that, I'm sure he's going to want to do that. So there are going to be some other static ways that it can sprout legs and make connections.
This is cool.
Also live watch parties, if that's the case. And then as of right now, we're not releasing who the cannabis sponsor is. But it's going, usually what we're doing is 20% off all deliveries during the show. And we're trying to just work that out to if it's going to be bigger than that or smaller or sure. Whatnot. So
there's some hidden gems that will be unleashed on Sunday, and that's exciting. Yeah. So this is going to be really cool. So again, Sunday the 5th, tune into Facebook. Basically, it'll be all over Eugene in the interwebs. And so for the Sunday brunch, the kickoff, the first ever. So this is the beginning of something big. Again, we want to give a shout out to Mark from, where did I write that? From getpropertyloans.com. So check him out for your real estate needs. Shout out to Studio 541 Productions. Shay is the one that runs that. And then Plato. And
I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but just to pause a little bit on the real estate business finance group, where that came from, and there'll definitely be a link on this as well. Where that came from is the CARES Act through stimulus for supporting small businesses. So he reached out to me to put resources into pay performers, just because we had meetings about this concept, and he just wanted to immediately put resources back into this. So not only is this whole mechanism looking at food, music to support, but it's also, as we're moving through this with small businesses and supporting, we're also working with the businesses that are accessing these resources to perpetuate this show as well. So that's a piece. So you can reach out and even apply for some of this money in creative ways through that organization, that it goes to perpetuate the series as well.
Yeah, I'll put the link. You had given me a worksheet for the CARES Act, and I'll put that. It's a Google Drive document, and I'll put that in the show notes as well, for something that they can access, so that there's help for small business owners right now in this time of shutdown. So that'll be in the show notes. A little bit more information about what the CARES Act can provide. There's ways to apply for loans and all that good stuff. So we'll make sure to provide that.
And that specifically, that one, the way it's designed is forgivable. So essentially, you're going to look at your last tax return, and you'll look at your expenses and your wages and your miles and all that kind of stuff, and then you'll look at your annual net, and then you essentially you're going to arrive at a number. So it's not a lot, but the way the design is for it to be forgiven, to perpetuate. So,
right. So these businesses don't have to close their doors for good, so that when we reopen, that we're not losing it, and I know a lot of friends. I got off the phone before we had started talking today, and I'm not going to say his name, but a good friend of mine who his business isn't going to survive this shutdown. And it's a heartbreaking thing, so that's why we're doing what we're doing, trying to get the word out about some collective community efforts for performance, because performance is something that's lacking right now. So this is a great opportunity. I want to give a shout out to Joey Helpish. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Joey Helpish, because Joey has inspired me to get on these Zoom interviews and to keep my brain busy by doing this podcast. Joey I did an episode with him a couple ago, so you should check that out if you're listening to this. But he's so funny, because he says that he's been living on the internet for a few years now, and that everybody's gentrifying his neighborhood now.
Oh, dude,
and it's so true.
I was watching Joey this morning with Dusty, and it's just funny. A lot of the just crossover intersections, but he's famous for saying something, basically do something horrible.
Do something shitty today.
Yeah, do something shitty today, and the way I look at that is like learning from it. And if you look back to last Sunday, and you watch my live stream with this concept of this show, it was, do something shitty and learn from that and move forward. And so hopefully, hopefully this Sunday it's going to be a lot of it better. And but if I didn't show that shit, it wouldn't do
I love it. I love it. I love the realness. And I think that anybody following any type of creative outlet, whether it's painting or music or throwing a concert, people want to see progress. You know, they want to know that they got there at the ground level. And so for people listening, I think this is exciting because you'll be able to see the first ever Sunday brunch. Dave Villalobos, this is always fun chatting with you. These are cool little quick interviews. Tune in to, for anybody listening, what you got to do is you just got to be on Facebook at noon on Sunday. I think pretty much everybody will anyway, because that's what I know that you look at the report from your phone and it says you've been online for 17 hours yesterday. During this shutdown, people are getting some hours in on their iPhones. That's for sure. So we're going to end this. We're going to end this with a song. And this is a song by the comedian that will be performing on the Sunday Brunch this Sunday. His name is Alex Elkin. This is Imagine.
Nice.
Here's a fun little song I wrote for all the celebrities out there who think they know better than us, that have lost our jobs and have no work to go to. Imagine there was a virus. It isn't hard to do, killing lots of people and scaring me and you. Then imagine all these rich actors telling us to all calm down. Celebrities with money and mansions who all can afford not to work, smugly singing on Insta like condescending jerks. Now imagine us regular people crabby you. You may say I'm a cynic, but this really is too much. And maybe you can call me a critic, but these celebrities are way out of touch. I mean, come on, these are actors that have been working in the industry for years. They've literally got millions of dollars, probably don't even own microwaves anymore. What struggle do they know? Imagine the audacity of actress Gal Gadot, friggin' Wonder Woman, or privileged Natalie Portman, bloody Queen Amidala, singing about stuff they don't know. Imagine Sarah Silverman. Oh yes, here's what we need to hear from. Singing away off key. You may say that I'm just jaded, 'cause I've lost my comedy gigs. But at least I'm not spouting commie propaganda as a wealthy capitalist pig. Whoa, you may say that I'm a cynic, but this really is too much. I know that everyone's a critic, celebrities are way out of touch. They're way out of touch. They don't remember the struggle. Dear celebrities out there, kindly keep your finger wagging to yourselves. You haven't lost any work. You don't know what the struggle is like for the rest of us. Stick to what you know. Reading scripts and saying other people's lines. Don't believe the hype.